Hello, thanks for joining today. We're going to go over the CURCE poster workshop. This will help you as you're preparing to present a poster presentation at a University of Albany or external conference. When in doubt, if you have questions, contact the CURCE team at ugr@albany.edu. So this is an example of a poster from a recent undergraduate presentation at the CEHC Showcase Day. As you can see, this is a very organized and laid out poster. It uses a very specific type of template that CURCE provides to students in order to ease the process. It gives information about an overview, different information about methods, how this came to be, what their recovery was, what their results were, and it helps any attendee better understand the project from a high-level view. It can include images, graphs, and additional information that you believe might be necessary to prove your point and share your research with others. Let's start off with where you can find these student resources. You can stop watching this presentation right now and just visit the CURCE website, albany.edu/undergrad-research. On our For Students tab, there's a student resources page. There's a specific question that says, how do I make a research poster? You can go straight there. This presentation, along with instructions for PC and Mac, as well as a poster template, are available for you at any point in time. What we're going to cover: some do's and don'ts for your poster, what content you need, creating a research poster examples, as well as printing a research poster. We'll start off with the things you should try to do with your poster. Create a catchy and interesting title. You should not create a new title for your presentation. It must match the title that you used when you submitted your abstract to present. Changes like this will not be easy for attendees to find you and talk to you about your work. Make sure you try to use bullet points when possible. It helps keep information organized and linear. Do try to use a simple color scheme to maintain a uniform and clean look. Include graphs, tables, illustrations, and images to enhance your poster content. This is key because you don't want too many words on your poster. We'll cover that in the don'ts. But this also gives you some opportunity to visually depict what you're talking about versus using additional language. Meet with your faculty member for feedback on your poster before you submit it. It's critical that they know that you have on your poster in case there's anything that is inaccurate or confusing. Complete your poster ahead of time to make sure you have enough time to print it. Include the UAlbany logo or the logos for other facilities where you worked, and make sure you get that permission before utilizing it. If you use one of the CURCE templates, it already has a University of Albany logo and CURCE logo embedded on the template. Those can be removed if needed. However, we do prefer that students utilize at least the University of Albany logo. Don't overwhelm your posters with long, complex sentences. The more words on a poster, the less likely someone is going to be able to read the entire thing and ask you key questions. Make sure that you have quick information that is available to them so that they can get an understanding of your work. Don't use different fonts. Select one, maybe two, and stick with it. Don't use too many different colors. In many of the templates, it sets the colors utilizing the different themes and designs. This is key because you can then control the types of colors that are complementary and contrast to make sure people can easily see your words. Don't use anything too busy, dark, or distracting as a background. This can make it difficult for individuals to read it. Making sure that it is easily accessible for all attendees, not just those who are standing right next to it, makes it important so that someone can see your work and come up and ask you questions. Don't post grouped items as a picture. Try to use it and paste as an enhanced meta file if you're using a PC, or a PDF if you're using a Mac. When you just simply copy and paste a picture, the figures and logos will come out looking very blurry, and you don't want your final product looking unprofessional. Here's your poster content, your title, and with your title, your name and the names of other presenters that are going to be there with you, your introduction or research question, your foundational theories or research, the methods, results, discussions and relevancy, and contact information. If you have space, you can always include references, but don't try and cram it in there if it's going to be really small. You can always put an attachment onto your poster and not allow people to grab it if they need it. Something that we have recommended students do in the past that has worked out really well is to utilize a QR code to record an elevator pitch. This allows you to walk around and leave your poster so you can see the other presentations. It also allows people who may not be able to wait to talk to you to scan your QR code, get a gist of your presentation and your research, and then even include your contact information so they can reach out to you with any questions. It should be 3 minutes or less. Brief is key. It should give an overview of your poster and your research. And we highly recommend that you record this in YouTube or another streaming service. This ensures that there's closed captioning available for accessibility purposes. You can also have a handout of additional information that can include your references and your contact information so that as somebody walks away, they can take that and ask you questions later. When you're creating your poster, keep in mind that size does matter. You want to keep it to a maximum of 48 inches by 36 inches. It should not exceed this because that's how large our poster backing will be at our conferences. You may reduce the size to about 36 by 24, but don't go any smaller than that because it will be very difficult for you to maintain your poster and draw in attendees to talk to you. We strongly encourage students to utilize Microsoft PowerPoint as their software to create their poster. All of the CURCE templates have been created in PowerPoint for you, and so that's why we really encourage utilizing PowerPoint. When you're designing, if you choose not to use the set design that is available through the CURCE templates and you want to start from scratch and use your own, make sure you're using a clean and uniform look. Text color should contrast with the background to make sure it is readable and visually appealing. When you're printing, make sure you save your PowerPoint as the correct size and that it is saved in a PDF format. Rapid Copy is not able to take the PowerPoint slide and convert it. You must send a PDF format. Some general instructions. Make sure you resize it. That'll be your first thing, and we'll cover that on the next slide. Add all of your information to the poster, eventually creating the whole draft. You can add images and pictures, making sure that they are high quality, high resolution. You can utilize free common images like clip art in Microsoft, or try Canva for additional options for graphics and images. Make sure you proofread your poster and get feedback from others. We will not be able to reprint posters with spelling, grammatical, or other errors this year because of the time crunch we will be under. Make sure it is ready to go when you submit it. The first thing you need to do is resize your poster. This is important because if you do not resize it and you resize it at the end, all of your information will need to be adjusted to the correct size. Go to the Design tab at the top of the page, and at the top right of the Design tab, click on Slide Size. Select Custom Slide Size, enter the size you want the poster to be. The standard is 48 inches by 36 inches. Select OK, and your poster is now in the correct size to add your content. If you're utilizing one of the CURCE templates, we've already done this for you, so that's step 1 done. Choose your color theme. Again, go to the Design tab. At the top left, you'll see different slide themes to choose from. To the right, you'll see different color themes. You can always click on the drop-down arrow for additional options, or you can create your own using the designer button. We do recommend that you use something that is visually appealing and not too specific to just your work. Being able to gain attention for your poster is key. So don't use anything too distracting while you're designing. The CURCE templates are fairly generic so that you can add in different images and graphics that make it personalized. We do recommend that if you're trying to move large quantities of material on your poster, that you group them. It's really easy to do. You just right click and drag over all of your items and make sure they're highlighted. Select group and click group. It's really that simple. You can then also ungroup them once they're moved to the correct spot. And you can then ungroup them by clicking group, ungroup, and then you can move individual pieces. This is really helpful and saves some time and some frustrations during the process. When you're doing copying and pasting, make sure you do it as a PDF. Right click and select copy on the item you wish to copy. Go to where you want to paste it and the contents. At the top toolbar, click the Home tab. At the far left, click on the arrow at the bottom of the paste button and click Paste Special. For Macs, select PDF and click OK. For PCs, select Picture Enhanced Meta File and click OK. This is important because it'll keep your picture and image in focus regardless of the size of the poster, so it will not come out blurry. We've seen this happen to many students who rush to get it in, and it does not create a visually appealing option for them. At the end, once you're done, make sure you save it as a PDF. Again, we are not able to print posters if they do not come in as a PDF file. Go to the file, click Save As, click where you want it to save the document, wherever that may be. Make sure you add the file name, and if there's a specific naming convention, make sure you're using that. Choose Save As Type. When you're doing that from the file format, make sure you select PDF. It automatically sets to PowerPoint presentation, but we need it to be in the PDF. The PDF file is what you'll send to us for printing or to whichever printer you're going to be using. We do have 2 different poster templates that will be available on the CURCE website. This is the first one, and I'm going to actually call your attention to the fact that we did not follow our own instructions. At the top of our poster, you can see that the logos are both blurry. That's because we did not follow our own instructions of pasting as a high resolution. Make sure you do that and avoid our own mistakes. This is one of the templates, and it utilizes a standard University of Albany color scheme. We did this because most of you will be presenting at the University of Albany, so utilizing our colors is very appropriate. There are the 2 logo spots at the top, so you can always edit those as you see fit to include your lab, your school or college, or anything like that that is more representative of the work you've been doing. The next option is a little bit more linear. This gives you the option to center content right in the middle in that larger white text box. It does also give some different color variation. Again, there is some color utilizing the U Albany purple and gold, but you can use this if you prefer to use these more muted tones of blues and grays, and it does still provide enough contrast so that it is visually appealing and accessible. Here are some poster examples. This is one from a student who presented at the 19th Annual Student Conference in April 2022. As you can see, they did not utilize the University of Albany color scheme. They picked their own, but they made sure that it was consistent throughout and it provided enough contrast so that all of their information is still easy to read and see. This is key when you're going to have a poster mixed in with about 100 other posters at the same time. Again, your poster should not include everything. Make sure that it is the key points that you wish to make and for someone to understand if they come and talk to you for 3 to 5 minutes. This is an additional option from a student. This one includes a lot more graphs and imagery. It is really great because they utilized the standard CURCE template, but personalized it and even used some different colors to ensure that it stood out a bit more. This is a student who utilized our CURCE template. They made some edits to have more imagery, but the one thing that they were unable to include is references. That's totally okay. This student is then able to centralize their information on what is the most relevant to their research and their project. When you're ready to start printing your poster, CURCE is able to print these for students. We do have some caveats that you should all be aware of. We are only able to print one poster per student each semester. So if you have a need to print more than one, make sure that you are aware that only one will be finished and printed by CURCE. The others are your responsibility. We are unable to do any reprints or edits. So make sure that your poster is the final version and it is ready to go, as perfect as it can possibly be. Posters take at least 3 days to print, and as we get closer to the end of the semester, we do see increased volume. So make sure you're giving ample time and understand that posters are not printed immediately, and you will be notified when it is ready to be picked up. If you are presenting as a group, please make sure that if you've already submitted a poster yourself for an individual presentation, that a different member of your group is submitting for printing. If you need the application to submit to print through CURCE, please email us at ugr@albany.edu. If you're printing the poster on your own, we strongly encourage you to use the UAlbany Rapid Copy Center. This is because it's right here on campus. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to worry about it being ready on time. And it is available Monday through Friday, right here on our campus. If you're utilizing Rapid Copy, the cost is $65.64 for a student to print. This cost may increase due to inflation in the spring semester. Make sure you use the correct order form and list the appropriate size that you have used for your poster. We do recommend students use the glossy paper versus matte, but again, that's your choice. I believe matte is a slightly reduced cost of about $2, so it would only be about $63 to print the poster in a matte format. There are additional external options, but these would require you to be able to go pick them up at an external vendor. These include Staples, UPS Store, FedEx Office Print, and Ship Center. Or if you're going to be using your poster for more than one presentation and you may be traveling with it, we have had students print their posters on fabric, which are easy to fold, transport, and then iron. They're also washable. So that's a great bonus if you're using it more than one time. If you have any additional questions, please contact CURCE at ugr@albany.edu. We're here to help you and offer you the support needed to help you create a stellar poster presentation. Thanks.